12,000 feet above the Peruvian rainforest, a flash of white light tears through the clouds. Seconds later, a commercial airliner breaks apart in midair. Crew more Excelsior. 91 people are about to die. A 17-year-old girl, still strapped to her seat, is falling toward the jungle below, and she is the only one who will walk out alive. Significantly, this is the true story of Juliane Koepcke, how a teenage girl survived a 3-kilometer fall from a disintegrating aircraft, then spent 11 days alone in the Amazon, badly injured, with almost nothing to eat, using one piece of advice from her father to guide her out. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what it took to survive, and why the jungle everyone called a green hell was the thing that saved her life. Christmas Eve, 1971. Lima, Peru is warm and bright, nothing like the cold December the rest of the world knows. Inside Jorge Chavez International Airport, 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke walks beside her mother, Maria. Suitcases packed, presents wrapped, both of them thinking about one thing: getting home for Christmas. Home isn't a house in the city. Home is Panguana, a research station deep in the Amazon, where Juliane's parents, both zoologists, have spent years studying a rainforest most people only see in photographs. Capital Bandor, Juliane grew up there. She knows its sounds, its rivers, its rhythms. She has no idea yet how much that knowledge is about to matter. They board Lanza Flight 508, a Lockheed Electra, 4 engines, propellers turning, bound for Pucallpa. Juliane takes the window seat, near the back. Her mother sits beside her. For the first hour, it's just another flight. Gray clouds, ordinary turbulence, nothing unusual. Then the sky turns black. Not cloudy, black. Rain hammers the fuselage in sheets. Lightning flashes again and again outside the windows. The plane begins to shake, hard, the kind of turbulence that rips bags from overhead bins and sends Christmas presents tumbling down the aisle. Passengers scream, trays fly. Juliane grips the armrest so hard her knuckles go white. Beside her, Maria says something her daughter will never forget. Now it's all over. Outside the window, Juliane sees it, a blinding white flash close to the wing. The aircraft lurches violently, nose dropping. And then, nearly 15,000 feet above the Peruvian jungle, the plane comes apart in the sky. Juliane doesn't remember screaming. She doesn't remember falling. She just remembers the last thing she recalls is green, endless green, rising up to meet her. Silence. Then, slowly, sound returns. The drone of cicadas, the drip of rain through leaves. Juliane Koepcke opens her eyes. She's on the ground, still strapped into her seat, 3 seats in fact, torn from the fuselage, fallen with her through nearly 10,000 feet of open sky. Her mother is gone, not beside her, not anywhere. To this day, no one can fully explain how she survived that fall. Maybe the seat spun like a wing, slowing her descent. Maybe the storm's updrafts cushioned her. Maybe the thick canopy broke her fall in stages, branch by branch, before the soaked jungle floor caught what was left. No one knows for certain. She simply survived what nothing should survive. She tries to stand, and the world goes dark again. When she wakes a second time, hours have passed, maybe longer. Her collarbone is broken, her knee is torn. One eye has swollen shut. Her glasses are gone, the world around her reduced to blurred shapes and color. A deep gash runs along her arm. She's wearing a torn mini dress. One shoe, nothing else. Juliane forces herself up and starts searching for her mother, for other survivors, for anyone. She finds only wreckage, twisted metal, scattered luggage. No bodies close enough to recognize, no answers. Overhead, she hears it, the low hum of search planes circling somewhere above the canopy. She waves, she shouts. It doesn't matter. Under that much green, from that high up, a girl in a torn dress is invisible. Among the wreckage, she finds one small mercy, a bag of boiled sweets, 30 of them, barely damaged by the fall. It's not food, not really, but it's something. And somewhere beneath the fear, a memory surfaces, her father's voice, calm and certain. If you find moving water, don't let it out of sight. Increase itself. Juliane finds it, a thin trickle of water, barely wider than her hand, threading through the undergrowth. It isn't much, but her father's words echo louder now. Follow the water. It has to lead somewhere, tense. So she moves, slowly, one bare foot testing the ground ahead, her shod foot following behind. Every step is a negotiation with her own body. A torn knee, a broken collarbone, one eye swollen shut. The jungle doesn't make it easy. Thorns catch at her skin. Fallen trees block the stream. Mud swallows her ankles. Insects swarm the wound on her arm. She can't see them clearly, can't see much of anything without her glasses, but she can feel them. She rations the sweets, 4 a day, no more. It's barely anything, but it's the only food she has, and she doesn't know how long she'll need it to last. The canopy overhead is so thick that sunlight barely reaches the forest floor. No shadows to track, no stars at night. Just green in every direction, swallowing any sense of direction except one, downstream. By the second day, the trickle widens slightly. By the third, it's a proper stream. Juliane keeps her eyes fixed on the water, refusing to let it out of sight, just as her father taught her. She doesn't call out anymore. No one is close enough to hear. She doesn't cry either, not because she isn't afraid, but because there's no time left over for fear. Every ounce of her focus goes into the next step and the next and the one after that. 4 days in the jungle. Injured, half-blind, and utterly alone, but still moving. Still following the only rule that might keep her alive. By the 5th day, the stream Juliane has been following is no longer a stream. It's widened into a real river, brown and slow-moving, cutting a path through the dense green on either side. The banks have become too thick to walk, tangled roots, thorny vegetation, ground that swallows her feet. So she does the only thing left to do. She moves into the water. If a story like this is keeping you on the edge of your seat, drop a comment and tell us what you'd have done in her place. And if you haven't already, hit like. It helps more people find stories like hers. Wading, sometimes swimming, letting the current carry her when her strength gives out. It's faster than fighting through undergrowth. It's also more dangerous. She has no way of knowing what's beneath the surface. She starts to notice the wildlife change. Strange, prehistoric-looking birds call from the branches above. Hoatzins, a species she recognizes from her years at Panguana. Her father once told her, where the Hoatzins are, the river is big enough to matter, big enough to lead somewhere. By the 5th day, the stream Juliane has been following is no longer a stream. It's widened into a real river, brown and slow-moving, cutting a path river is big enough to lead somewhere. This chaos, Herneot, about a very easy story. She keeps her distance where she can't, and keeps moving where she can't. Then, sometime around the 6th day, the sweets run out. All 30 of them, rationed for nearly a week, finally gone. Now there's nothing, no food, just river water and whatever strength is left in a 17-year-old girl who hasn't eaten a real meal in 6 days. Her pace slows, her thoughts start to blur at the edges. It isn't panic anymore, it's something quieter and in some ways more dangerous. A kind of apathy creeps in, the body and mind both starting to conserve whatever they have left. But she doesn't stop. Day 7. Still in the water, still following it downstream, because stopping was never really an option. The wound on Juliane's arm has stopped healing. It's gotten worse, swollen, raw, infected by days of jungle water and insects. And now, something is moving inside it. Fly larvae. She can feel them under the skin, and there's no doctor, no medicine, nothing but her own memory to draw on. Then she remembers. Her father, years earlier, treating an infected animal the same way, using fuel to draw the larvae out. Then she has no proper tools, no antiseptic, just instinct, pain, and whatever she can find. When she reaches a spot where she can rest, she pours fuel into the wound. It burns, but it works. Some of the larvae surface, and she forces herself to keep going. 10 days now. Her body is failing faster than her will. She's weak, disoriented, running on almost nothing. Every hour blurs into the next. River, mud, green, pain, river again. Then, on the riverbank ahead, she sees something that stops her cold. A boat. For a moment, she doesn't trust her own eyes. Now you've gone crazy, she tells herself. You're hallucinating. But it's real. Pulled up beside it, a small shelter, built by hunters or forestry workers who use this stretch of river. She has nothing left to keep moving, so she waits. The next day, 5 men return to the shelter, driven back early by rain. They find a girl, barefoot, wounded, barely recognizable as anything but jungle-worn. For a moment, they freeze, startled, some later saying she reminded them of a local legend, a spirit from the river. Then Juliane speaks. She tells them her name. She tells them she was on the Lanza flight that vanished 11 days ago. Their disbelief turns to urgency. The men move quickly. They feed her, tend to what they can of her wounds, and the next morning, they load her into a boat. The journey downriver takes almost 11 hours. Juliane, barely conscious for parts of it, watches the jungle that nearly killed her slide past on either side. The same green that, for 11 days, had been the only thing keeping her alive. They reach Torna Vista. From there, she's flown to a hospital in Pucallpa. Word reaches her father, Hans Wilhelm, still at Panguana, still not knowing if his daughter survived the crash at all. When he arrives at her bedside, there are no words for that reunion, only relief and grief tangled together, because Juliane's mother, Maria, is still out there. For weeks, search teams comb the crash site, using details Juliane provided: the terrain, the waterways, fragments of memory pulled from 11 days of survival. On the 12th of January, 1972, Maria's remains are found. Of the 92 people aboard Lanza Flight 508, only 1 walked out of that jungle alive. Juliane Koepcke could have spent the rest of her life running from what happened to her. Instead, she went back. She studied biology. She specialized in bats. She returned to the same rainforest that swallowed her mother, not as a survivor fleeing a nightmare, but as a scientist determined to understand the place that had both taken everything from her and given her a second life. In 1998, she walked that jungle again, this time with filmmaker Werner Herzog, retracing the path she once crawled, waded, and stumbled through alone. Today, she still protects Panguana, the research station her parents built, carrying their work forward. For me, she said, the jungle didn't take my life. For me, it saved it. Juliane's story is proof that survival isn't always about strength. Sometimes it's about one piece of advice, followed without hesitation for 11 straight days. But not every survival story unfolds in silence. Some are fought, loud, brutal, and alone against overwhelming odds. If you want to see what happens when one man refuses to be overrun by 30 enemy fighters, you need to watch One Gurkha Soldier versus 30 Taliban Fighters, the Dip Prasad Pun story, coming up next. And if stories like this, true events, told with the weight they deserve, are the kind of thing you want more of, hit subscribe, because history is full of people who refuse to give up. We're just getting started telling their stories.